welcome back. It's not the day of love quite yet, but we are celebrating and also unpacking everything good. And in today's dating landscape, I'm sure you know, is love becoming transactional? Is it becoming an experience that's got a back and forth that needs to be balanced, where emotions, time, and energy are weighed against expected returns? Or can genuine connections with unconditional love still thrive, Carl?
Wow. We're going deep today.
Deep.
Okay, we do. But now there's someone that we brought in only for her surname, given the month. Lucinda J. Valentine. Yes, it's a real name, not a stage name, is here, a CEO and lead therapist at the Tiny Room Counseling and Therapy. And I did mention this, yes, it's your month. Congratulations. All right.
I've heard all the jokes.
No, but I'm just saying it's
But we're
interesting.
serious.
Because her surname is Cupido.
Oh, there
Cupid.
we go. Okay, I'm
and
not alone in
Valentine.
this.
No, you're not at all.
Okay.
Exactly.
Our month. We've got to embrace
Yeah.
it.
So-
Every day.
Yeah, we have to. Now, can we just unpack this thing very quickly to set the scene? If someone has never heard of transactional love before, can you give us just the building blocks, a little layman's terms as to what that means?
Tit for tat would probably come up.
Love it.
Yeah, tit for tat. Agenda, you know, having agendas. I kind of call it an imaginary scorecard, you know.
Wow,
where,
that's a good one.
where there's some boxes that need to be ticked. Yeah, that kind of covers it, I would say. But
Okay.
it's unfortunate that it happens majority of the time. But there's reasons behind it. There's reasons behind it. I'm sure we're going to banter about this a
Definitely
little
need to
bit more.
unpack this, but I
Yeah.
just want to bring something up, Miss Valentine.
Yes.
Because I know that we live in an era of social media, of dating apps. I maybe met my man on a dating app. Success story, though.
Big time.
But I just want to know about that psychological effect on something as quick, easy, and convenient as a dating app and how that translates into the transactional love world.
I thought about this quite a bit. You know, I've got my own views on social media. Not negative, actually. A lot of people have negative views on social media. A lot of success stories on these apps, even some of my friends. I don't think people's intentions a lot of the time are to go on these apps and have it, you know, that microwave, quick fix connection. A lot of people are just lonely, and I don't think a lot of people go into it for it to be that transactional, what can I get out of it? They're just wanting to connect and do life with somebody special. So I don't think the intention with these apps is what can I get out of it? So I may be coming from a different angle. So maybe you guys have had a different experience. I think mine's maybe a bit more positive, but yeah.
You know what, I have seen a lot of women, because social media is very flashy, it's very superficial, and so they see a particular life perhaps that they're wanting, and the intention behind them going onto social media might be a little bit jaded, a bit wrong, because they're going, that's what I want, this is what I'll give for it, but this is what I'm wanting to get, my expectation. So maybe that's not good.
You spot on, because there's a human behind that. And so obviously I'm coming from the human aspect where there's two people that are obviously going to be in a relationship possibly. Now that individual might have their own gaps, blockages and blind spots, and they are trying to fulfill certain needs through that superficial life or materialistically. So, you know, let's not look at a person's behaviors as the person behind those behaviors. So I don't know, I just unconditionally love people and completely accept them, but that is lacking. And so I'm hoping we'll get into this conditional love, unconditional love side of things, because I think that's fundamentally what's the building block that's missing in a lot of humans' foundations for that outcome to happen, or that result to unfortunately happen.
Well, let's look at the way you attract a suitor. I think that's where things start to fail. If you look at a dating app, you have a bio. The bio is saying to you, this is what I have. Do you want something that I have? Isn't that transactional in its nature anyway?
I wonder
Which means
sometimes.
we're setting ourselves up to create transactional relationships all the time. This is who I am. This is how much money I have. Look at my fancy car. Or this is me. This is what I'm about. The family I come from. And now you're like, so I'm going to invest time in trying to get you in order to get that. And that's the thing about this whole way we are connecting with people. You know, we're no longer meeting people at social gatherings, because our social gathering is now online. And a social gathering gives you affirmations and credibility scores around people that person is spending their time with. Therefore, behavior becomes the center focus and perhaps fostering unconditional love. Now we live in a world where it's like, hold on, I don't want to get hurt. So I need X, Y, and Z. And if I get that out, then it doesn't matter if my feelings are hurt, because at least I got that.
Got something.
So are those some of the behaviors that you've seen that would speak to a relationship going to one that is a transactional relationship? What are some of the behaviors that you have seen within your practice that could be telltale signs that a mindset needs to be shifted?
It's, well, two things. Like I said, the conditional love we'll get to in a second, but with that conditional love that we'll unpack just in a moment is expectation. So somebody's going on those apps or on social media, but just living a lot of the time with expectation. So there's two things. That bio might not be real. And then you meet in person and the genuineness is either felt or not felt, or you can only keep up that facade for so long. And the cracks start showing. So a lot of people step into any connections, any engaging with other human beings, be it colleagueships, romanceships, friendships, familyships, where there's expectation, and that's crippling people. They actually are kind of overwhelmed with these conditions, which is those expectations. So I believe, and our practice believes, drop all expectation and completely accept people and unconditionally love them. But that is so difficult for a lot of us to do.
I was going to ask if it even is something you can do. I mean, everything comes with conditions, doesn't it? And if you step outside of a space that I'm like, no, it is a condition, is it not? It's the fine print. It's the rules that you're breaking that I've maybe secretly tied with myself within this relationship. Does unconditional love exist?
It does. Unfortunately, a lot of our homes and our families are brought up conditionally with performance in mind. So it does exist, and it does take a little bit of work, a bit of unwiring and rewiring, as we like to say, or unpacking and resetting and rebooting. But having principles and values and morals is not having expectations. So we're very quick to dish out the expectations, but yet we don't want people to have expectations on us. And we're constantly living in this disappointment. And when you feel disappointment, you got to ask yourself, what expectation did I have on that other human being? So for me, and there's perceived assumed expectations a lot of the time, where someone just assumes that somebody has an expectation on them, and you have a conversation and they're like, I never ever thought that. You know, so we have these three groupings of expectations, the high expectations that we have on ourselves to perform. So it sounds very foreign, but if we can live freely without any expectations, completely accept people for wherever they're at, and unconditionally love them, and just be free of all of that, we can just connect and vibe and engage very healthily. But it does happen, and we've seen it successfully happen with a lot of our clients, so yeah.
Okay, well, we've got more to unpack. We do.
I hope so.
No, we got a lot more, because I think that understanding transactional versus unconditional, I think that's going to take some analysis. And we'll do that for you, especially if you've got questions. Perhaps you now think, after hearing that you are in a transactional situation. If that's the case, drop us a message. Stay anonymous if you need to. 063 408 8863. We'd be very, very happy to get our expert on the couch, our Valentine expert and counselor, just to make sure that you get some clarity in your relationship. Because you know what? You deserve unconditional love.
You do.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. I got to apologize, of course, for that technical difficulty. We'll see if we can get as Joel Zuma back in to sing that beautiful rendition of Luther Vandross. But we've got to continue on the theme of love, because we still have Miss Valentine in studio with us. That is Lucinda J. Valentine, a CEO and lead therapist at the Tiny Room. And she's joining us today as we talk about how love can become transactional these days. I'm kind of believing that, is there an alternative? Because it's all I'm seeing around me. But I do want to talk about maybe cultivating a more healthy approach to relationships, and I'm hoping you'll come through with some sort of light at the end of this dark tunnel.
So foundationally and fundamentally, if two human beings have got their gaps and their blockages and their blind spots individually addressed, you should be able to come together as a unit and be balanced and healthy. And it doesn't matter what that relationship is titled as. It doesn't just have to be, romanceships, because we are in the month of love.
Yes.
So for me, if you can be a strong, solid human being as an individual, you should be able to engage healthily with other people. I know it might sound difficult because we continuously look outward at this person's got these issues and problems and, battles and stuff like that. But we are only in control of our responses and reactions and our choices and decisions. So we work very much on our individual clients, and even in our couples therapy, we do split them along the way. And a lot of the time, the relationship problems are not actually relationship problems, they're individual gaps, blockages, and blind spots. So we just focus in on the person, the individual, and then in their work life and in their personal lives, even with their family, they can flourish, they can do well.
And I love to hear this, but you are talking about the individual. But when I zoom out a little bit and look around and think about cultural expectations, societal expectations, as we said, social media expectations, how do we manage that with also trying to pursue a healthy relationship with ourselves and our partners?
Oh, you are so spot on. We are very externally focused. And a lot of people think that their lives are created from the outside in, instead of we create our lives.
Right.
And you were speaking about that expectation again, societally and generationally and culturally. And we work with clients from all different cultures and backgrounds and stories. And within the room, the tiny room, we hear about these battles of those expectations from family, exampling and feeling as though and seeing as though they need to keep up to a certain standard. It's a lot of pressure. But when our clients know that no matter their performance of, how many boxes they tick and how well they do in life, they have priceless value and worth. They are enough. Only if they know how unique they are and how amazing they are and they're solid within themselves. They're besties with themselves. How are you going to be close connections and best friends with other people
if you don't even know yourself?
If you're not best friends with yourself, if you don't like and love yourself. So it really does start with you, and then out of that, you should birth out, hopefully, a healthy and balanced life.
Oh man, Miss Valentine is speaking all the things, and I hope that you are paying attention, because these are the vital gems that are really gonna find you love if that's what you're looking for, or dig deeper within yourself. But right now, Expresso fam, you've dropped some really beautiful comments across our socials, and let's unpack them and get into it. The first one is from Ashley Siegel, absolutely beautiful, saying, yes, because now dating is more about what do you have to offer me so I can give it back to you, which isn't a bad thing. It is with regards to energies and emotions, but in this day and age, it's more about the materialistic aspects like money, the kind of lifestyle and so forth and so on, because unconditional love is more about wanting one person to say, wanting to do things for the said person and loving them with their flaws and all. But lately, there is actually more conditions, more terms, more fine print, if I can add that in as well. Have you found that? Have we lost the human connection?
Sadly, we have. And it's when I speak, I know that it sounds so foreign to so many people, because it's almost as though what I'm speaking about is the minority, of what's happening, and the majority is this conditional love. And we're trying to actually change that and hopefully be the difference. And something that we say a lot at the Tiny Room, and it might kind of blow people's minds, is if you fill your own life's petrol tank, and you know what buzzes and jazzes you, what's your color, fun, and excitement every week, and fill your tank to 100%, and maintain it there at 100% with no expectations of someone else filling your tank.
Right.
And everybody else fills their tank to 100%. We shouldn't be dipping out of our tanks to fill each other's petrol tanks. We should be fulfilling our own needs to that 100%. When we add into each other's life, that's overflow.
Sure.
And in the overflow, we can be all things to all people. There's no expectation then in that. You know what I'm saying? If we're besties with ourselves, if we're solid within ourselves, we're free to not have those ties and those expectations and all of these kind of like, even the love languages. We spoke about that earlier. We should be speaking into our own love languages. Before we have any sort of expectation for someone else to speak into them. They will eventually.
Yes.
But we're all busy.
Exactly.
We're all living life.
Please.
So
100%.
we can't be sitting outside the window being all sad, waiting for somebody to fulfill our love languages.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
You operate from a place of abundance, right? Not lack. I get that. Fill up your own happiness. Well, let's see what else you had to say, Expresso fam. And thank you so much for getting in touch. Well, this one from Imelda Tumza, saying a beautiful comment that relationships have always been transactional, And in traditional ones, many provided financially for women, right? And that is a woman-managed home with fixed roles. Modern relationships, however, while still involving an exchange, are more balanced, with both parties contributing in different ways and also having more agency to negotiate their roles. Just because women are asking for reciprocity doesn't make it a transactional one, as some may claim it. It is about creating more equal, but also, and I like this, mutually beneficial partnerships. I think that's important to say. And we are in a modern space, aren't we?
Yes, definitely.
So relationships need to also evolve with the time.
Definitely. I think of my marriage, and I'm married 12 years this year.
Oh, congratulations.
And my husband and I have evolved as a marriage, as a team. You know, I studied for many years and just studied, and he, picked up the financial load.
Right.
But now that we both, successful and financially stable and independent, it was interesting for me that I grew up in a conditionally loving family and household, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And it was so foreign for him to be so nice to me. And I was like, what do you want?
What do you want?
It's very
Where's the fine
suspicious.
print?
Like, yeah, exactly. And then I started to realize we're a team. We're a unit. It's not yours and mine. It's ours. It's us. And I know that this is something that I hear a lot in the room is not happening. It's separate finances. You pay for these things. I pay for those things.
Yeah.
I mean, we share a bank account. It
Sure.
freaks people out, like
Because they don't trust their partners.
What
They're going,
the
what do
heck?
you mean?
Yeah. So for us, it's just maybe very conventional and traditional, but we live a modern lifestyle. We are both, business owners and running things,
Right.
and busy. But he's not running to the grocery store all the time, and I'm not running to the grocery store all the time. We make sure that we, in communication,
Right.
are balancing the load.
That big C.
I tell you,
That big C word, communication.
it's another
baby.
conversation.
Yeah. We're going to have you back, Miss Valentine. Listen to Valentine is in the building from the Tiny Room. Also love that. It's a tiny room. It's a space of intimacy.
yeah.
And if you are facing any issues and you're finding maybe you are in a transactional relationship, then maybe this is the number you need to dial just to make sure that you unpack all of your past traumas and your present reality to get to where you need to be. We want you to be in a space of abundance and love, especially in this month of love. So thank you so much, Miss Valentine, for being here today. For now, though, speaking about love, let's get into the kitchen and create a delicious meal of love.